especially the closest we got to Machu Picchu, you could tell it was local people who would be working there.
Very cool to see that interaction and that local custom. And then once we got there, we spent the night in Aguas Calientes, woke up pretty dang early, and we got in line to wait for the bus, and we took the bus out. What do you think of the bus ride from Aguas Calientes to Machu Picchu?
How can you say, how many ways can you say switchbacks?
Yeah.
It was amazing, such a steep climb. And I wanted to comment too, Jesse, that, you know, you rented a little minivan for us.
Yes.
With the driver, and I would definitely recommend that people do that when they're planning their trip to Cusco in the Sacred Valley, because it was so convenient to be able to just get off and on that little minibus and have a driver who knew the area and could take us where we needed or wanted to go.
Pretty incredible how affordable it was too. I mean, I think it was a Mercedes Benz, and it was like $80 for the day, and they take you wherever you want to go, you know.
And we had what do we have, 7 of us, I think.
So what does that come out to? About $10 a person?
Yeah,
you know,
for the day,
for the entire day of seeing,
having the convenience of a bus there waiting for you as you came
for sure,
back and forth from things. And also the food. I know through the Sacred Valley, as we were taking the bus and the train, it was fun to see all the cuy on sticks.
Yeah, when we were going through Calca and Lamai, you guys got a firsthand display of all of these poor rodents just impaled on the side of the road.
All these guinea pigs roasted and just sitting on these sticks on the side of the road waiting for people to come buy them.
They are delicious though. That's my favorite style of you can get it baked, you can get it on a stick like that, or you can get it deep fried, but I prefer it like that on a stick.
And all the street food we had in Cusco.
Yeah, the chicharron. You remember the chicharron? That was delicious.
Yeah.
Okay, so once we got up to the top of the switchbacks, what was your first takeaway once you got off the bus, Mom?
Well, we just kept looking, you know, where is it? Where is it? We were so excited.
Right. Where is Machu Picchu?
Yeah, and you couldn't really see it from where we what do you call it?
Yeah, departed the bus.
Departed the bus, yeah. You couldn't really see it, so we waited in line, but there weren't very many people there. And honestly, in October, the only rain we had was that day at Machu Picchu. It just sprinkled.
It was just sprinkling on us on our arrival. It was a little cloudy, and then we got up and we could see the actual site, and it was like, wow, this is incredible. Yeah. And then we got up a little bit higher and we kind of hung out there by the llamas. You remember that?
Yeah. There was that bar there, kind of a little restaurant bar.
Yeah.
Where we sat together and had a beer.
Mm-hmm.
But the clouds are almost, you know, it wouldn't be Machu Picchu without clouds.
So true.
You want those clouds coming in and out of the sites. Yeah, it adds to the pictures.
Yeah, it absolutely adds to the aesthetics of it all, and it really pulls it together and makes a nice atmosphere and environment.
Yeah.
And so then we got down and we started walking into the actual site because there's a couple of different sections of Machu Picchu. So we started going down into the main huge doorway. It's amazing, this megalithic fortress. And then we decided to go up and to the left into this kind of hidden area where we had a little ceremony for my brother Lucas. We had some of his ashes, and my mom gave me the honor of sprinkling his ashes there and leaving him to rest in Machu Picchu. I thought that was cool. What do you think, Mama?
Yeah, that was a really nice moment.
Yeah.
Even though I think Uncle Richie got whistled at.
He did get whistled at. He's a photographer at heart, and he was going up for a better vantage point on top of some stones, and right away he got called out. Yep.
It was funny because other people were doing it too, but he was definitely the one that was called out for getting there. And you know, he's such a rule follower that I think that really,
of course he is. That's why we love him. That's why we love him.
Yeah.
So yeah, and then we continued down. And then what did you think about Machu Picchu itself, Mom, when you were inside the site?
Well, Dave and I knew it was going to be our only trip to Machu Picchu because you know, there's so many places we want to go that we knew we'd never be back. So we really spent the entire time we were allotted to explore every single little aspect. And we had the little guide that told us what the rooms were and what the areas were for. And it's just incredible to think that not only did they find this remote mountainside to build Machu Picchu on, but how did they build it in such a difficult spot, get the stones up there and do the terracing and build this fortress on the top of a mountain, basically.
It's just a mind blowing. It's an absolute wonder of this world that I hope more people get down to see it, because it's just one of a kind.
Yeah.
And did you get to see the chinchilla, or they're not chinchillas, but they're named something else. Vesquias, I think they're called, but they're like little pikas.
Yeah, we saw those.
Yeah, you saw those as well.
Yeah, in there.
Yeah, that was really cool to see them hanging out.
But some of the areas where you would look out what was a window, and it was just straight down. It was kind of fascinating to think how difficult it might have been to raise children, or to have little children roaming around Machu Picchu with such cliffs.
Well, someone just died yesterday.
Oh, did they?
Yeah, yesterday. Sorry to bring this up, but I think it was Huayna Picchu, and they had a cardiac event and passed away. So yeah, people die at Machu Picchu, like anywhere, but Machu Picchu and Huayna Picchu, especially that more, extreme point up above Machu Picchu. I didn't even get us tickets for that. I thought,
and then when we tried, it was sold out.
Exactly. And I just felt like with vertigo and things like that, and maybe for a younger age, but yeah. And so then we were waiting to get, there was this huge line of people trying to get on the bus to go back down after Machu Picchu, and we just got a private little bus pull up for us and took us away. Remember that?
Yeah, that was great.
That was really cool. And then we grabbed our bags and we got onto the Hirombingom first class train on the way back to Cusco. Had a private band on board. We had unlimited chocolate and pisco sours and wine.
Yeah, it was great.
It was great. Yeah, trout with maracuya sauce.
Yeah,
it was wonderful.
La ley de maracuya. The
Yeah.
rule of maracuya is that if you have maracuya on the menu, you have to order maracuya.
I didn't know that, but
that's a Lucas ley.
Seems like a very good rule to
Lucas
have.
rule.
Yeah.
The food was very good. And the one thing, you weren't allowed to bring walking sticks into Machu Picchu.
That's right. I think they don't want people damaging the site or whatever. It makes sense. People whacking stuff all the time.
Yeah, and it was a timed entry, kind of type thing. Not really.
I feel like it's
it was
more
the off season.
And knock on wood, we got there just before what hit, and so that created a whole fiasco. It was closed for a long time because of the virus and whatnot. And so it was really cool that we were able to see it without having to wear a mask and have all the restrictions,
And you could see the what was it, the Inca Road? You could see it coming in.
Up above it.
Up above
Inti Punku is what they call that, the sun gate. And that would be cool to go. See, the problem is one day is just not enough, honestly, for Machu Picchu. Because you got to do Huayna Picchu on another day. You got to go to the Inca Bridge, which is another section, and then you got to go to the sun gate. You guys did it? I didn't do it. Me and Vanessa were just kind of doing a speed lap. But
Dave and I knew we weren't going to be back, so we tried to do as much as we possibly could. So it's definitely the trip of a lifetime, and I would recommend that everybody try to make that happen. Although I have to say, Machu Picchu was not my favorite place.
Exactly. What was your favorite place, Mama?
Tipon was my favorite place.
Tipon. And tell us, why was Tipon your favorite place?
It was beautiful. There was nobody there. There was just one other couple there when we went with a guide. Was it the water temple?
It's one of them, yeah.
Yeah. And the thing that fascinated me about it is that the village below there still uses that as their main source of water. The irrigation system that the Inca built
never stops.
Is still the way they get their water hundreds of years later.
Incredible.
And I think about how things we do today are made to fall apart
and be repaired the next year.
Yeah, and to see that architecture, engineering, it's a feat. It's incredible.
It's unbelievable. And for these to have been primitive Bronze Age type people, it makes you laugh. It's just a joke.
Right.
It's so complex and intricate and just advanced.
Yeah, and there were interesting angles there, and the green grass and the baths where the royalty would bathe. before ceremonies. I just thought it was a beautiful kind of isolated area that didn't get a lot of tourists at all.
Totally. And there's another site above it. So me and Dave hiked up about 20 minutes and there's a little ritual area. And then there's actually an aqueduct that connects it probably 2 kilometers away to this other site called Pucara, which me and Cody explored and got stuck up by a drunk one night. We were coming back from that site and he pulled out a knife on us. That's another story for another time. But yeah, that whole site is amazing. There's some paintings, there's some cave paintings up above there, and it's just amazing. Beautiful.
It was really amazing. Did we take a taxi up there?
We did. So we took a different driver. We had a private driver for that day, and we went to Piquiacta, and I believe it's called Inti Punku. It's also like a gateway into Cusco. And yeah, we went to Tipon as well. But what did you think of Piquiacta, which is more the Wari site outside? It's just massive.
It was massive.
We were all by ourselves there.
Yeah, there was the only person there was the little man selling stuff.
That's right. As soon as we got out of the taxi, this guy walks right up to us and he's like, "Hey, you want to buy my stuff?" And it's like, that's exactly what we want to do, you know. So I think we did buy something off of him, or we gave him a couple solas or something, you know. But bless his heart, he was waiting for all the tourist buses, and we were the only ones to show up.
But I think that renting that taxi for the day, or having that driver for the day, only cost us like $40.
If that.
And there were 3 of us.
Yeah, it was a steal.
Around. And then we had lunch at some little joint on the side of the road.
Yeah,
was delicious.
Yeah, it was great. I think that was in Saya, which is one of my favorite places for chicharron and fried pig and stuff like that. So it was just a trip of a lifetime, and I'm so grateful that you guys were able to come down. What did you think about? Were there any foods or things like that that stuck out to you, or drinks that you had?
Well, I think the soup, the sopas were really good.
You had the adobo, right? That pork soup.
And I thought that being in Cusco proper, it was really fun. The one day, I don't know what holiday it was there, but they had bands and school children marching through the center square there. What's the name of that area?
The Plaza de Armas.
Yeah. And the fun thing was that there were street dogs that got in line with the parade, and were kind of actually worked their way up to the front. So it looked like everybody was following these 7 dogs around the square. And we really got a kick out of that. Nobody tried to shoo them out of the way, and they were just part of the parade.
That's so cool.
Got right in there. And I think, you know, we would there, all those museums were within walking distance downtown there around the square, and the alley behind the cathedral there, the church.
Loreto is the name of that street.
Yeah, where the stonework was just amazing.
It's one of the most significant pieces of the Inca road system, and it's right next to the Coricancha and also the Plaza de Armas. But that's a street that I walked every day to work. I walked it every single morning. I run my hands across those stones, and it was just like you could feel the energy, you know?
Yeah. And there was one stone in particular that had 11 sides to it.
12. Yeah,
12.
12.
So you know that they just did that for fun.
Right.
I mean, there was no other reason for that stone. That stone could easily have just had 4 sides.
Right.
But there were 11 other stones coming into that stone.
It's like it was fun for them.
Yeah.
You know?
Somebody said, you know, hey, you know what I'm going to do today? I'm going to cut 11 or 12 sides on this one stone.
Totally.
And then I'm going to put 12 more stones around it.
Yeah.
Fitting into it.
And there's another site called Coimai outside of Cusco that I just discovered that has like 20 something angles on it. It's just amazing.
That was amazing. I thought the food was really good, especially the potatoes. All the different kinds of potatoes was fun. And then also, I guess everywhere you go, people serve some kind of a crepe and or a crepe. And we had a crepe one night. After my sister and her husband left, we just ate street food pretty much, and it was all delicious.
Good? Yeah, awesome.
It was really delicious.
And what about the people? Did you have good interactions with the locals?
Everybody was great. We stayed in the little bitty boutique hotel that only had about 6 rooms. It was really tiny, 2 rooms per floor, and it was right on a busy street, but we didn't really hear a lot of noise there. It was within walking distance of the